Hey artists, today we're going to draw and paint this sunflower. Make sure you have a pencil, an eraser, a Sharpie, watercolor paper, watercolor paints, a glass of water, paintbrushes, and a paper towel. It's important to have the correct supplies for this style of painting, especially the watercolor paper and the Sharpie. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is grab our pencils and start with the middle of our sunflower. So we're just going to kind of draw a squiggly type circle like this, something like that. We don't want it to be a perfect circle. And then inside of that circle, we'll go ahead and draw a smaller squiggly circle. So like this. Okay. And then we will start drawing our petals next. So what we're going to do is start about here and swoop up and then back down. And we're going to just go all around the flower and keep doing that until all of this space is filled in. When you're adding your petals, you can make some go behind others. So I'm going to start at this point here instead for this one and go down like that. And like here, I'm going to end over here. And we can just draw some straight like that. So we want some to look like they're coming in behind other petals. I'm just going to keep adding. If you need some more time to do this, feel free to pause the video. You can see this petal's behind two petals, so you can only see that top part. And that's just our first layer of petals. And you can see on this one, there's some back layers. So I'm going to go ahead and in between some of these other petals, I'm going to draw more petals. So you're just seeing the tops of these petals that are behind those first petals. And that makes our sunflower look more like a sunflower and like a fuller flower. So like that. All right, next thing we're going to do is draw our stem. We're just going to draw two lines kind of curved downward like this. Sunflowers have pretty thick stems, so we're going to leave it pretty thick. And then we're just going to draw two leaves coming off. So first we're just going to draw a line up like this and a line up over here, and you can see there's these little veins coming off, so we'll draw those in like this, and then we're just going to draw the leaves right around there. So we'll start about here, curve up, and then back around, and then do the same on the other side. And there we have our sunflower all sketched in. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Sharpie and I'm going to go over all of those pencil marks. I'm going to make some of those lines thicker, like the outside of this middle part, and some of these petals that are closer you want thicker than the ones that are behind. And then also you can add some polka dots in the middle here, and I drew some like little O's on this bigger circle here just to make it a different texture. So I'm going to go ahead with my Sharpie, I'm going to go around with my marker here, and then we will move to the next step. All right, I forgot to mention that I also added some lines in these petals, so you can go through and do that as well. All right, now that I'm done with all my marker lines, I'm going to go ahead and take my eraser and erase any of those pencil marks that I can still see, and then we will move on to our next step. All right, now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and take my paper towel and my paintbrush, and we're going to start painting. So first thing we're going to do is take our paintbrush and make it a little wet. We're going to start with a petal here. We're just going to do one. I'm just going to do one to show you what we're going to do here, and then I'll fast forward and we can do the next part, just so you're not watching me paint every little petal here. So I'm going to start down here near the bottom of the petal and fill that in. I did make this whole petal wet first. So I made that wet like that, and then you can see it's just kind of moving, the paint's kind of moving its way up through the petal here. So it's darker at the bottom here and behind other petals. So we have dark, 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 and light up here. So I'll show you another petal here. I'm just going to go ahead again and take this wet brush, go over the petal. It's okay if it still has some yellow paint on it. It's going to be yellow anyway, so that's totally fine. And then I'm just going to start down here at the bottom and along these edges, and it'll start filling in. You can move it along. You can use your towel to get away any extra paint that you don't need, and then just blend it upwards like that. All right, I'm going to continue on with these petals. They may take you a little bit. Feel free to pause the video and we'll meet up for the next part. All right, I'm all done with my petals. So next I'm going to do the center of the flower. What we're going to do is, again, we're going to wet it. So I'm going to fill the whole thing in with some water. You don't want it flooded, you just want it kind of damp. Fill that in, and then I'm going to grab some brown. I'm going to use this brown here and just start filling that in. I want it a little darker on this outside circle and then a little lighter on the inside circle, but you can do it however you want. See, I'm just kind of filling in, adding water for blending, and it's even starting to go into the center a little bit, which is totally fine. Start filling in that middle section. Again, I'm leaving my center a little lighter, kind of like that. Now you can see on this side I did some yellow in here, and that just makes it a little brighter, kind of like the sun is shining on it. You can go ahead and do that now if you want, or you don't have to, because I'm also going to do it down here. But what we do is just take some yellow, and I'm just going to do this upper area, kind of like where the sun would be hitting it the most, and just blend that in a little. Put a little down here, right on this upper edge. I only have a little bit down here, not too much. You want the most up here where the sun's going to be shining. Just like that. All right, so I'm completely done with the flower now, so we're going to move on to the green. We're going to rinse our brushes off, and I'm going to fill in this stem. I'm going to start there, and we will grab some of this brighter color green, I think is what I used, and I'm just going to fill this in like that. You can just kind of leave it a little bumpy near the bottom there where it's unfinished. And go ahead and do the leaves as well. So filling that in with some water. And this one too. And I have it darker down along these edges here and along this middle part. So that's what we want to start with. Get most of our paint out there. You can do one leaf at a time if you want, or you can do both like I am. I'm just going along those lines and then blending it up like this. And like I said, again, we're going to take some of that yellow. I'm going to rinse my brush so I don't get green in my yellow paint. And then we're just going to go along these upper edges, so where the sun would be shining the most. And right up here on this top part of the leaf. All right, just like that. It's a little yellow. My stem seems a little yellow in comparison to my other one, so I think I'm going to add a little bit of a darker green. This is totally up to you, but I'm going to add a little darker green near the bottom here. And start blending that in a little bit. Maybe yours wasn't as yellow as mine was, but all right, there. I think I'm a little happier with that color. Can also make it a little darker right under here. There's going to be a shadow from that flower right there. All right, I think I'm all done with my sunflower. If you enjoy doing this art project with me, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to see when I release new videos. I would love to make art with you again soon. Most importantly, keep creating. I'll see you next time. Bye.